Hello folks, welcome back to the Urban Rider Studio, where today I have some motorcycle boots with me from the company Rokker. These are the Rokker Moto Ranger motorcycle boots. They are a classy looking full leather mid-length motorcycle boot. At the time of making this video they come in at £250 and you can get them in a choice of either black or brown. Also on the table as a comparison, and I will refer to these back and forth as we go through the review, are the Rokker Urban Racer, because they are still to this day one of my all-time favourite motorcycle boots. I own a pair of these for myself. I'm a little bit choosier about how and where I wear them today because mine are about 10 years old. Now they still look great even for 10 years, but I don't want them to discontinue this line. I should probably just buy another pair just in case I can't get hold of them in the future. But I know for a fact I'm going to want to keep wearing those in the years to come. For a variety of different reasons. I love the look of them first and foremost. I love the durability of them as well. They've got a really quality sole, really quality leather, and they're very tough and hard wearing. Now I would actually say, even though they aren't CE approved, now I know testing's moved on quite a bit since I bought my pair, they are still comparable in terms of the thickness and the toughness to this new style. And actually, in certain aspects, I'd say they still feel slightly thicker, but they are more expensive. I checked earlier today and I think these are still sitting around £350. So there's a really decent saving to be had with this new boot. Another boot that I should mention are the Red Wing Iron Ranger, which as of the making of this video come in at £330. And clearly were a source of inspiration for Rokker when designing the Moto Ranger. Even just based on the name, you can see that. But also they do look fairly similar to those boots. Now, however you feel about that, whether or not you feel that this is a rip-off of the Red Wing, or whether you feel like it's a bit of a compliment that they like the Red Wing so much, they definitely have a lot of comparisons. However, they are CE approved, where the Red Wings are not. So if you want that style of boot, but you want something actually a little bit more affordable and CE approved, then of course this is a good option. Now I know some people won't really care about the CE rating, myself included to a certain degree when it comes to my boots, because tough is tough and I know they're a hard wearing boot. That's why I use the Urban Racer still to this day, because of course it is a tough boot. I don't care that they don't have that safety certificate. They're still tougher than a lot of the boots I actually see in the studio with that certificate. And if we're talking Red Wing again, a lot of the guys in the office do like them. I don't personally own a pair myself, but a lot of my colleagues do, and they speak very highly of them. Now with that address, let me explain the details of the Rokker Moto Ranger. Starting with the outer material. So this uses a vintage cowhide leather outer, which has been heavily greased for increased water repellency. And that's actually one of the USPs to Rokker boots that I've seen in the past, that I've owned in the past as well. They're not listed as being waterproof, but I know from experience of getting caught out in more than my fair share of light showers, they actually do a great job of water repellency. Now obviously if it's raining heavily, I actually think my boots, the Urban Racer, would fare slightly better because they don't have this side zip entry, which of course you do have on these, but I think I'd still take that option instead. Now some people don't like a side zip entry, they don't like the look of that, although I would argue that it's not that noticeable on these. It does, however, make it really easy to get in and out of your boots. You will still have to loosen off the laces, but the fact that you have that zip, and it does go quite far down the boot there, means that it will be a lot easier to get your foot in and out. And I know that for a fact because, of course, we take lots of things on the shoots that we go out on, myself and Will, and whenever I see a boot with a zip entry, I breathe a sigh of relief because it's a lot quicker and easier to get in and out of. Now when it comes to CE testing for motorcycle boots, it's bracketed into 4 different categories. Things like height, abrasion resistance, impact cut resistance, and transverse rigidity. Now when it comes to the height, you've either got 1 or 2. In fact, across the board, it's either 1 for the lower grade or 2 for the higher grade. With motorcycle boots, 2 is obviously for a taller, more adventure style of boot. For boots like this, they always come in at level 1 because it doesn't go across your shin. For abrasion resistance, these score highly, and you'd expect that because it's a really tough, nice, hard-wearing leather, so these are level 2 for that. For impact cut resistance, impact especially, these don't have any inserts in the ankle. Now some people will prefer that because it makes it more comfortable to move around in, but because they don't have any inserts, you'll see on other boots, often they'll put in things like D3O. It's a fairly thin slither so as not to bulk out the boot too much, and obviously not to impact on your comfort. I don't know how much of a difference that makes in the event of a crash, but obviously on other boots you do actually have that where you don't on these. And I have to admit, transverse rigidity does surprise me on these to a degree because it is a really tough, stiff sole. You'll see there's very little flex in that, and that is one of the strengths of Rokker boots in general from my experience. But either way, again, they score a level 1 in that field. I think something that I do lament losing from the Urban Racer is the Goodyear welt to the sole. It's a really tough and hard-wearing sole. It uses cork as well. They often take a long time to break in, so they can be uncomfortable when you first get them if you're going to wear them all day. You would just want to break that in over time, and then they become like a second skin. They really do become more comfortable, arguably, than a lot of other shoes that I own. You just have to persevere with it. Now I understand why they haven't gone with that on these. These don't use a Goodyear welt, but of course, again, they are more affordable. In its favor though, I would say that means these are going to be more comfortable straight out of the box and they will take less time to break in. With all of that explained, let's consider these boots in context. Now, arguably, I would say I still prefer some of the quality of my Urban Racer, and I'm sorry if this sounds like a love letter to them, it's just that I really am impressed by them. And they are kind of my benchmark for this style of boot. But I will acknowledge they are also fairly pricey as a pair of shoes for most people. So to get something similar, but more affordable, and with a little bit extra functionality like this side zip entry, I think these are a great option. And obviously they look great. Little things like the fact they've got this round toe as opposed to a pointy toe, which you'll find with some other brands. Whether or not that's their own style, or whether you feel like they've copied a bit too much from Red Wing, I think I could justify that in my mind if they hadn't also ripped off the name slightly. I think that was a bit of a misstep, but obviously I like this design. I love the color as well. I like the fact that it's got a contrasting sole on the black. And to compare them to some other competitors, the likes of Helston's, for me, no question, these are a higher standard. So, as a result, on balance, I'm still very tempted to add these to my kit. But I'd be curious to hear your thoughts in the comments section down below. Let me know what you think of these. You can find links in the description if you want to, and I'll see you soon. Bye.